As Jeff Romo here with InnRoads Ministries, I wanted to bring you a very basic primer for Roll20. This is going to cover signing up with Roll20, going in as a player, taking a look at your character sheets. This is going to be from the perspective of Stars Without Number for that particular game. Roll20 has a specific character sheet dedicated towards that system. So let's just walk through the basic sign up. There's a lot of other Roll20 tutorials out there on the YouTubes, and they've done a lot better job than I will. But I wanted to give you some basics on how to get started. So, as you can see, there is the sign up invite. So I sent an invitation to our InnRoads group. So I sent an invitation to myself, and here it is. I'm going to go ahead and click on the link. And that's going to bring me to a Roll20 account. If you already have Roll20, then you can go ahead and sign in here, and that's going to bring you into the game. The next step is that, hey, I've never used Roll20 before. I'm going to go ahead and sign up and get involved in the game. I already have an account with Roll20, so here's your landing page. You'll be able to go ahead and join the game from here. If you are the creator of the game, you'll be able to go ahead and make some other adjustments, that sort of thing, with the settings menu. But we're not going to worry about that now. We're just going to go ahead and hop in and play. So I've gone ahead and joined in as a player. This way you'll be able to take a look at what kind of options you'll have available to you as a player. Right here we're looking at a sector map. This is something I've created for the players in our one-shot, and you'll be able to see some of the different planets or systems they'll be able to go to, and then the planets that are within that system. But hey, that's not why you're here. You want to figure out how to play the game. So a couple of icons along the top right hand side. We're going to start off with these. The first one is the chat window. You have some command language that's available to you. As soon as you log in, you can take a look at what those will do for you. You can start typing words and just hit enter, and it will pop that into the chat bubble. You can also whisper messages between players, but what you're probably here for is more about rolling dice. And if you want to just do a quick dice roll, you can do a /R or /roll. And let's just do a d20 plus 5. Hit enter, and then boom, here we go. It is going to roll some dice for you. Here's my roll. I rolled a 7 plus 5 equals 12. All right, so the next thing on the list is characters. You're going to go to the little index looking thing. Looks like an index card square. It's called Journal when you hover over it. And you'll be able to jump in there and take a look at some of the characters that are available. I'm going to go ahead and start with Corvin. If you saw my intro for Stars Without Numbers, you'll know that this is the character we built together. So right now I've gone ahead and I've added a rather ugly picture here. I don't think this looks anything like the highly charismatic Corvin, the card artist that we put together. But we'll stick with it. And let me show you a little bit about what it means to change these settings. You can hit the edit button up here, change his or her name. You can remove the picture here or add in a new one. You can also add in bio information. So if you wanted to try and, select some stories about him, he's very sensitive about his typing skills, especially when on camera. When you're done with any kinds of changes there, you can go ahead and hit save, and then boom, you're done. It's going to bring you back to your character sheet. There's multiple tabs along the top here. You want to hit your character sheet tab. That is the specific of what we want to look at right here. With Roll20, a bunch of game systems are already embedded in this play space. So you'll be able to go ahead and choose anything from Dungeons & Dragons 5e all the way back to AD&D on up to other games like Stars Without Number. Not every system is available, but the programmers that are out there, the community that supports this, has done a great job of trying to embed rules within the game, especially when it comes to rolling dice within the system. Rather than having to search through the rules and figure out, okay, do I add a modifier here or do I not do it? A lot of these character sheets are going to go ahead and do this for you, so all you have to do is just hit the roll button and maybe add in a modifier or two, and you're done. Boom. So let's test it out. So I have my character sheet already set up. I don't have a lot of the numbers already put in, like my physical, mental, evasion, tech, luck saves, all that stuff, but I'm just going to do a basic attack roll. So I'm going to hit the dice here. Normally when you're looking at your character sheet, you're going to find the dice icon. I'm going to hit that. It's going to give me what's my target AC. Let's say the person's not too squishy. He's a 3, so he's got pretty good AC, pretty good armor class. Combat skill bonus, let's say I got a knife and I got a 1 in there. I got an attribute bonus. Not with Corvin, unfortunately, he's kind of weak, so we'll leave that alone. And then boom, it rolls the dice. I'm going to close this out so you can see the roll that I did. When you want to see the results, make sure you go back to your chat window, and unfortunately, it was a miss. So you can see some of the baked-in effects here when you see the roll. After I've rolled off of the character sheet versus a normal roll with just going in straight out of the chat window, boom, there you go. You actually get to see a little bit of razzmatazz that they've put into the system. So taking a look at it from being rolled in a character sheet versus what it looks like when you just roll it from the chat window where you do a slash roll, you are going to be able to see a little bit more information about what the roll means. So in this case, unfortunately, it was a miss. You can see the dice right there was a 2. I'm going to get rid of that because that's shameful. Next up, so we've talked about character sheets. Eventually, you're going to be able to see some handouts here that whatever the GM shares with you, you can pop those handouts open. The GM can also force share them, and so that way it's not a Star Wars reference. It's actually just saying it will actually put the handout in front of you so that you can view it. There's a jukebox option so you can see if there's any music that's playing currently. There's also a deck section where you can pull out certain playing cards. You can also use these cards for Savage Worlds Initiative. There's also some specialty stuff that you can do in here we won't get into right now, but that's what that section's for. Next up is the settings. So this is where you're going to be able to adjust some of the stuff you see on the screen. If I were to remove my video feed, unfortunately I didn't do that ahead of time, you'll be able to see that right where my head is where your video chat is going to show up. And we'll talk about in just a second. You'll also be able to change the name that is displayed here. I have Keegan listed. Other things that you can see, you can have different settings for advanced keyboard shortcuts, pop-outs, that sort of thing. Don't worry too much about that. It's going to be preset for you. One thing you may want to adjust is being able to see the 3D dice rolled. If it turns out it's a little too much for your browser, you can shut that off and just be able to see the resulting roll. Last but not least, on this particular settings tab, you'll be able to adjust what you broadcast to others, whether it's voice and video or voice only or nothing. I'm going to keep mine disabled for now. And then what you receive from others, again, voice and video, voice only or nothing. So the last thing is the size of your icon. You can have large, regular, small, or nothing where it just shows names. A lot of times you'll use that for if you're playing via a phone or via a tablet, that sort of thing. All right, excellent. So we are done looking at the settings. We've looked at all of this information up here. This is what the basics that you would really need to play. Now, in addition to this, you also will be able to move icons along the screen. This is something that may be useful for you when it comes to more in-depth play. But for the purposes of the game that we will be playing in a very basic one-shot setting, it may not even be needed. You can also maneuver things on the screen. You can select things on the screen, and that's going to be used by the tools over here. So, for instance, I can switch to a pan view and use my hand to actually move things around on the screen, change how that looks. You can also zoom in or zoom out right here. You can also draw shapes. So if I wanted to draw a shape and I'll make it regular, let's go ahead and fill it in because that way it'll show up. Boom. That's going to be shown to everybody. You can also use Control Z and get rid of it or that sort of thing if you'd like, or you can just select it as so and hit delete. That's gone. They also have the ability to measure distance, and you can just roll dice straight from here. If you wanted to just pick a dice roller, pick a dice from the dice roller, you can do so here. So those are the basics for Roll20. A lot of the other stuff that you'll get into would occur in longer term campaigns where you'd be accumulating notes, character bio information, that sort of thing. For the purposes of Roll20, the other positive thing about it is being able to use video and voice chat. The system has been fairly stable during my experience. I've only had 1 or 2 evenings where it's been a problem, and usually that problem is solved just simply by restarting your browser. I hope this has been a simple primer for you to enjoy the possibility of using Roll20. It is a system that I've grown to really love. I know there are others out there. Fantasy Grounds is a fantastic system, has a lot of availability. I usually go with Roll20 simply because it's a little bit easier to use from the start, and then also it's free and allows you to branch out as a GM as well before you decide to take the dive into becoming a full-fledged member. As always, you can find out more about InnRoads Ministries by taking a look at the show notes below. or you can check us out at InnRoadsMinistries.com.